Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, despite still holding the Electoral College, I'm going to make a name change right here. I accidentally put Biden, but despite still holding the Electoral College, Donald Trump has basically pretty much took the lead. Just counting, just totally dismissing the totally flawed polls that we've got from, as you should know, looking here, going all the way down. Let's see, 2024 opinion timeline. Yeah, you'll see Donald Trump here has taken a nosedive up, and Kamala Harris it's curving, and that's what we totally like to see. You'll see, this is really good. A week ago, you'll see Kamala Harris was leading by 3 points. She's now leading by 2.8. You'll see she still could win the popular vote as what it's looking like right now, but the chances of Donald Trump winning the popular vote are pretty high. I'd say that the Electoral College are pretty high. In fact, I would go as far as saying Donald Trump has an 80%, a 70% chance at winning that Electoral College. And you'll see nationwide polls, you'll see Donald Trump has won the most recent poll from New York Times and Siena College. You'll see, despite Kamala Harris getting polls from like Outward Intelligence, a 5-point win here, and then the Emerson College giving Kamala Harris a 2-pointer. You'll see it's not as big and not as momentumous as we've seen. As we could like looking at these said polls, but we're still in the gist of it. We're still in the honeymoon. I can guarantee you Kamala Harris will somehow gain a poll somehow, but the deal is this may not end. Looking at like national polling all the way from 2016, 2012, 2000. I want to really take a look at 2004 because that's really the legitimate election. We obviously know Barack Obama was leading the popular vote by election day. He was leading the popular vote in 2012. 2004, looking at polls, I don't think they have the polls on this. Maybe there's a separate page. But yeah, let's see. 2004 election polls. But yeah, I can guarantee you, John Kerry was actually leading in the month of August. So the chances were pretty high that he probably was leading during this time, like near election day. That's an alleged theory. But looking here, you'll see, yes, most likely 2000. But the point I'm making is, even though Kamala Harris is still winning majority of polls, we're not technically losing. And because the Democrats keep forgetting, even though they have the Electoral College, technically, if you count the flawed polls, the Electoral College from 2020 was pretty good news. It was bad news in 2020 because we lost the election. This Electoral College map showed, Biden won, Democrats flipped the White House, we lost. But now in 2024, this map, the 2024 electoral map, the 2020 electoral map is good news. This is very good news for Trump because despite it showing Democrats winning, 306 electoral votes, you'll see margin-wise, you'll see Arizona, Wisconsin, and Georgia. They are tipping Democrat. They're pretty much technically they're underwater, mostly underwater. Their heads are probably bobbling above water, and all Donald Trump needs to do is probably flick it with his finger, and they're done. in the next election. Flick Wisconsin, flick Georgia, and flick Arizona in the face, and then they go Republican. That's the theory, guys. That is the gist of the theory. And like I said, all you need is just Georgia, Wisconsin, Arizona, and you win. And that's what I'm saying, guys. And all you Harris supporters, how do you think you guys are going to win? Democrats knew. They knew that, hey, you know what? Biden did pretty good. 81 million votes, allegedly. But the next Democratic nominee, or himself during that time, would have to try really hard to get Democrats up in these said swing states like in Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia, and improve that. Well, there were some examples of elections where Democrats did improve. Like, that's why the midterms were so important. Wisconsin, for instance, showed mixed results for both Democrats and Republicans. And that's why I'm seeing a hard time believing, hey, Joe Biden's supposed to win Wisconsin by 2. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Tony Evers almost won the election. I think he won the election by 2 points. But do you think the map's going to look like this? I mean, seriously. Vernon County going blue. You got this county right here. You got Sauk. Columbia County's flipped, a county that voted for Trump twice. You're thinking it's supposed to look like this. This is like a Evers plus, I don't even know. It's just ridiculous. And part of the reason was Evers picked up independent voters by 6 to 7 percentage points, which contributed to Tim Michael's defeat. Let's also see, comparing Wisconsin to the 2020 presidential election, turnout. Let's see, 51% of Wisconsinites, 56% of Wisconsinites voted in this election. Gee, I wonder how many Wisconsinites voted in the presidential election 2 years ago. Let's see. 72.3. So it went down, like compared to the last election, turnout went down 4.5%, which really did contribute to Evers' victory. And now you think of it, because Tim Michaels, who doesn't even have a page, wasn't really an engaging candidate. Despite being endorsed by Trump, he wasn't really engaging. Compared to Scott Walker, the former governor, a lot of people came out and voted, but it wasn't a presidential election record. This year, 2020, not this year, 72.3%. That's usually the usual turnout. That's the usual typical turnout. That's why we have a pathetic result in 2022 where Evers defeats Tim Michaels by 3.4. This is technically what Democrats are wanting, really, really, really wanting to get and replicate this map and get Kamala Harris winning by 3.4. And that's not going to happen unless 56% of voters come out and vote in Wisconsin, which I don't think is going to happen because this election has a significant effect. More people vote in presidential elections overall. Let's see. 72%, 67%, 70% turnout, 69% in 2008, 72%. I've seen nothing over 50%. Like, and that's all we got. 56%. That's a low turnout. So you could say that's the reason why Tony Evers lost. I mean, Tony Evers pretty much very handily won that election, surprisingly pretty well. United States Senate, by the way, you saw Ron Johnson win the election more, but by I believe by 1 percentage point exactly. That much better performance than Donald Trump's 2016 win in this state. And you'll go as far as saying, like, looking at this map, look at the low turnout. 56.74%. I think it's much lower than the Senate. So yeah, same deal. Much lower than the 70% victory. So I mean, if Ron Johnson can win Wisconsin by 1 point with a poor turnout, then we can totally win Wisconsin by with a which an alleged turnout. Pretty much, I believe it's going to be much lower than 72. I'm predicting it's probably going to be much lower, like 64, 65%. I probably 65% turnout. Much lower than the 72% turnout, but yeah, still, if Ron Johnson can easily defeat Mandela Barnes with a 56% turnout, we can totally win Wisconsin, which with a turnout which is probably 7 points more. We can totally do this. And that is getting Trump supporters out and voting. A lot of Trump supporters aren't really a fan of Ron Johnson, probably because he's establishment. He's not the biggest. I mean, he's pro-Trump. I believe he endorsed Trump, but he's not MAGA. He is establishment. He is an establishment pandering politician. And so it's pretty hard for him to get the MAGA crowd out. But seeing that how he engaged more suburban Republicans, I doubt that he's probably going to go out and do better yet help Republican, better yet help Trump more. It really depends on suburban and MAGA Republicans working together. That's the sole gist of it. Looking at Arizona, let's go to Arizona. 2022 Arizona elections. Now, it was a bad year for Republicans in the state, I'm not going to lie. Despite Republicans carrying the legislature, you'll see, yeah, my fear is it's going to look like this map. And I don't want it to look like this map. You get Coconino County at 60%. You get Pima, I want to believe Pima County. I don't know what that county is called, but this county that has Tucson, 60%. You have this county here, 60%. Santa Cruz County, 60%. Maricopa County just teetering in the 50s. So, yeah, that's what I'm concerned about. And it can easily become, because look at these polls. You're supposed to see Kari Lake defeating Katie Hobbs by 2.6. And in the end, you got Kari Lake being defeated by Katie Hobbs by not even a percentage point, but I get it. This is because of the Arizona, you know what, the ballot harvesting and the ballot machines in general. They drive us insane. You get stupid results like this. The polls lie all the time in Arizona. So never, ever, 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 ever get your hopes up. A lot of people say, yeah, I doubt Kari Lake's going to pick 0.2% because Kari Lake is not really a politician. She's a radio host. And Katie Hobbs is the Secretary of State. She has more experience, so it makes sense for her to win. And that was sort of the theory that I was kind of playing with. But then again, a lot of people turned out 62.6%. Looking at the presidential election, though, I can go as far as hoping that yeah, 79.9% of registered voters. It went up really high. Yeah, it was pretty high compared to 62%. So what I'm hoping is we get that 79.9%. So, realistically, it's going to be a little bit dimmer and a little bit down. But I could go as far as saying this is the reason why Katie Hobbs won 50.32. The turnout was not as good. It was 2.29 points below the 2018 average. Looking at that result. But yes, same deal like the senator election. It was ridiculous. It was even worse. I mean, there's no turnout result, but yes, 51.39. That was because Mark Kelly was well liked. He was like the Amy Klobuchar of Arizona. He made alliances with the workers, the unions, etc. All these workers and the jobs and everything. Blake Masters. What was Blake Masters? Not really a politician. He ran for U.S. 8th Congressional District, but he lost to the primary to Abraham Hamada. But yeah, you ran in a primary, but now you want to run for senator. I don't know. So yeah, it's just all over. It gives me a throbbing headache. Like, seriously. So yeah, I have major doubts with Arizona. That's why if you're from Arizona, get out and vote. I'm not kidding. Get out and vote early. Vote early. If you're from Maricopa County, you can be from Mohave County and still vote in person and not worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. It's mainly Maricopa County because there's no county in Arizona that matters more than Maricopa. Pretty much the only county in the United States that the country is mainly looking at. No county in the United States has this much attention to Maricopa County because we know that the more turnout there is in Maricopa County, the chances the election it's going to kind of bounce, kind of twerked a little bit. But yes, Maricopa County matters. It is crucial. And looking at Georgia finally. Now, Georgia's going to be honestly pretty interesting. And Georgia, yeah, Senate election, no turnout. But then again, I explained pretty much why we got Raphael Warnock winning against Herschel Walker by 2. It's mainly because despite being a pastor, he's also incumbent. He has that leader church pastor like personality. He made Herschel Walker look like a fool so many times in this election that pretty much he destroyed his chance in winning altogether. And honestly, he did pretty good. It's honestly going to be pretty close. Democrats aren't going to get in Georgia by 4, 5, 6 points, obviously. Then if that happens, the black vote, I would say not just African Americans are up by 90%, but just rural areas in general. But yeah, there is no real turnout. Governor's race, 57.2. Yeah, compared to the 2020 election, 66.2. So yeah, people weren't really motivated to vote for Brian Kemp, 57. Yeah, realistically, I would expect a little bit more. And this is an election where Democrats need people to come out and vote in droves. I mean, getting the turnout up to 70% would better yet help Democrats win Georgia. And yeah, Democrats win Georgia, it helps it goes blue. Yeah, I'd say this is a state where Republicans need to gain better turnout in Wisconsin in this election. More turnout in Wisconsin helps Republicans, while more turnout in Georgia helps Democrats, realistically. Because look at turnout like this, 57, you'll see Brian Kemp gain by 6 points, defeating Stacey Abrams, who isn't really a politician. I mean, yeah, she's a politician. She is a part of the Georgia House of Representatives. She's made herself a big figure in Georgia. But people don't generally like her. She actually performed even worse than 2022. Part of the reason was she made a porn novel, and that didn't really appeal to the Christians. And she thinks she would reach black women. Well, black women, black people in general, especially Christian black men and black women, they're not really, they're pretty turned off with you and with this poor novel that you made. And it kind of speaks with your policy. So, yeah. And plus, they kind of like Brian Kemp. He's proved himself as a moderate. And overall, he ended up winning the election, despite having a lot of Trumpers going against him. I think the fear-mongering over Stacey Abrams really helped Brian Kemp. But yeah, all I'm saying is this is all it takes. Get better turnout in Arizona. Better helps Republicans. Better turnout in Wisconsin. Helps Republicans. Georgia, that's pretty much the only state where better turnout in that state will help Democrats. So all I'm saying is a lot of people say, oh, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, Trump wins those three states, Trump wins the election. It's true, but that's not the easiest path. Yeah, likelihood of Donald Trump winning North Carolina and Georgia are high. I'm going to say it right now. The silly fact that Donald Trump is going, I would go as far as saying this is what what it's looking like right now. Donald Trump, according to this forecast, right now in September is winning by 272. Pennsylvania is arguably tied. Looking at recent polls in Pennsylvania, let's see. This is 2020. Yeah, you'll see. Wait, hang on. This is the presidential election. Yeah, you'll see Donald Trump has gained in most recent polls, 2 polls. And other than that, but just pretty much ties, which proves that the race is pretty much tossed up. Not one prediction is saying Democrats are going to win this election. It's tossed up. I can't even clarify and declare that Donald Trump's going to win this state. It is a tossed up race. What makes me feel good about Pennsylvania was the fact that Democrats did pretty bad in 2023 in that said state, despite winning the Supreme Court race. That proved that the abortion issue was not strong enough to get Democrats and moderates out and voting in favor for Daniel McCaffrey, who was running on the issue of abortion. Democrats won the race by 5. And really, that I would expect the state being much better, bigger than Wisconsin, winning as the Democrat Wisconsin used the issue of abortion and won by 10. So you would think, oh, that would be much bigger. So that's something I feel pretty confident about. Michigan also. We struggle a little bit in Michigan. We're getting ties. We're breaking the line. Not as good. But Wisconsin, I don't understand why Trump Harris is still at 2.7, even though Donald Trump has won either tied in recent polls or won recent polls. But it really shouldn't be 2.7. I guarantee you that is wrong. So, yeah, challenge that. Absolutely. At every single poll, every of these silly little, as you know, these silly little predictors or poll sources are just coping hard. They don't want to count these 4 polls and because they know that it screws up the average. And Wikipedia won't even count it either. So yeah, tossed up. I don't care. I shouldn't be seeing one Democrat poll because if you have a brain and you know how to do math, compare this to the 2020 election. Kamala Harris is not even close to winning the state of Wisconsin. Cope harder. Because I can guarantee you, yeah, Kennedy is still on the ballot. Who knows, maybe. But you got Cornel West, Claudia Dela Cruz. You got Jill Stein. Sure, you got Randall Terry, but Terry, the Constitution Party is just so small. It's just so small. I mean, you have more left-wing split ticketers than the right-wing split ticketers. I'm not worried about Randall Terry. I'm really not. He hasn't made a coverage in the news, and as long as he doesn't remain coverage in the news, I don't think he stands much of a chance. But you keep hearing these names: Cornel West, Claudia Dela Cruz, Jill Stein. And the more you hear those names, the more people are learning about them, the more people want to vote for them. So that is the theory. But what do you guys think about Donald Trump's recent better polling odds, especially from the New York Times? Like, going all the way back to the opinion polling ones, nationwide opinion polling. Yes, good news for Donald Trump. The New York Times Siena College, 1 point. It's not that good seeing that Kamala Harris was defeating Trump to 2 by 4 points. But, this is election. This is what happens every single election season. Democrats have a peaking high, but have more Trump and Trump. The more Trump is winning these polls, it's proven that, hey, this election is not going to be like 2020, nor is it going to be like 2016. Donald Trump has a realistic chance of winning the popular vote. And Democrats, they need to stop looking at the polls, like looking at the numbers, like, oh, it's 50, it says we're winning, and look at more at it deeply. Yeah, but Donald Trump is gaining twice and twice as much as he had in 2020, 2016. That's how you try to stop him. So what do you guys think in regards to our analysis today? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.